Hi, and welcome to the Law Simplified. I'm Bandaranayake. Throughout the past several years, I've had the opportunity of teaching a number of students from all across the world who are studying a UK LLB or a Bachelor of Laws degree. Now, several months ago, I did a video, which you can find if you click the card right up here, on whether you should do law, whether you should pursue a career in the legal profession. This in turn is a follow-up to that video based on a number of requests that have been made to me here on this YouTube channel, as well as on my Udemy platform on the courses, as well as the masterclass tutoring sessions that I do by several students as well as academics and professionals on which university is right for any particular individual. Now, granted, it might seem quite daunting and intimidating because there are countless number of rich, diverse, and recognized UK universities out there that all offer brilliant LLB or Bachelor of Laws degrees. But the problem is each of these degrees are somewhat different to one another, and sometimes one may be more preferred than the other in your individual case. Now, this video is based on insights that I have gathered not just by going through the material such as the prospectus document as well as the literature provided in terms of marketing material from these universities, but also from feedback that I have received from real-world actual students who are studying in these degree programs, either in the full-time, part-time, or the distance learning methods of study. So this is based on a number of years of experience, and from all this feedback as well as analysis that I've done, this video will distill the three main questions that you need to ask yourself before selecting an LLB or a Bachelor of Laws degree which is right for you. Firstly, the very first question that you need to ask yourself is, who am I? Now, this might seem quite redundant, but what I mean by this is, what type of person are you? Are you, for instance, on the one hand, a student, someone who's coming in from the London AS or the London A-level stream, and this is the first time that you're doing a degree? Or on the other hand, are you a professional, someone who is employed, who's working full-time, who might have a different type of degree under your belt, and you're doing this as perhaps a career change or a supplement to your own profession? Now, in the case of the former, the reason why this is important for be it a student or a professional is that you need to identify what sort of time frame that you can devote into this degree, and that in turn will determine the type of degree structure which is most amenable or tenable for you. Now, there are basically two different types of LLB or Bachelor of Laws degrees. On the one hand, you have what is known as a traditional LLB degree. This is basically where you have a study period of an entire semester or two, an entire year perhaps, and then you sit for your examinations either in May or most likely in October, November, depending on the university's structure. So you have a study pattern of a whole year, and then you sit for an examination. Now, on the other hand, you have some LLB or Bachelor of Laws degrees which are somewhat of a hybrid of assignments as well as exams based on each module. So certain modules will have a number of assignments in place, and others will have exams coupled with assignments as well. Why this is important based on who you are is the number of hours that you can devote to it on the one hand, and on the other hand, what type of person are you? So for instance, if you are a full-time student, that means you're quite flexible with your timing. You have enough and more time to devote to it, which means that the first type of degree where you study for an entire year and then you sit for your examination might actually work out well for you, since you have all the time to prepare properly, devote the necessary number of hours, and then sit for your examination. This does not mean that an assignment exam hybrid degree doesn't work for you. It just means that the first type of degree where it's just an examination will work for you just fine. However, if you are a professional, if you're someone who's working full-time, you might have to travel quite often, your hours might not be that flexible, then I would most likely recommend that second type of degree, a degree where you have assignments as well as exams. The reason for this is because a degree of that caliber actually forces you to have a schedule in place. You will have deadlines for your assignments, whereas in the former category where you only have an exam, you only have one deadline, and that's your examination. So most likely, this, for instance, I can akin to because I was working during the time I did my LLB, and my LLB was the first structure where you study for a whole year and then you sit for an examination. Timing is crucial. If you're not disciplined enough, you will lose a number of hours here or there, and it will come back to haunt you later on during your degree, closer to your examination. So an assignment exam hybrid qualification works well in terms of those short-term schedules and short-term goals. You will be able to sit for those, or rather submit those assignments and go on to the exam based on the module. This provides you an opportunity to really work around your schedule. So that's the first question you need to ask yourself. Who are you? Who you are matters in determining which degree to go for. This in turn will reduce the number of degrees or number of universities that you will be able to select. The second question that you need to ask yourself is, why am I doing this? Why am I doing a law degree? So on the one hand, just like a full-time student, someone who's coming into this degree, you might be doing this because you want to enter into the legal fraternity. You want to become a lawyer, you want to become a barrister, solicitor, and so on. On the other hand, you might be someone who is a professional, who is already employed in a particular type of industry, and you want to supplement your knowledge with law. Maybe it's as part of your job description, part of your work that needs a specific type of legal knowledge to be a part and parcel of your job, such as intellectual property, maybe shipping law, banking, so on and so forth. Now, if it's this latter case, if it's specifically the fact that you're trying to enrich your knowledge based on your work situation, that you need to know certain types of legal principles, then an LLB might not necessarily be the best degree for you. A Bachelor of Laws degree is basically a gateway into law. In essence, you will be learning the general principles as well as a holistic aspect of the law. And you might be learning a lot of things which don't really relate to what you want to do with your current position in your workplace. What might be more akin to you, specifically if you already have a degree or a qualification under your belt, would be an LLM or a master's in law. A master's provides you the opportunity to drill deeper and select a much more specialized area of law which might be instrumental in what you are trying to achieve in your workplace. So for example, if your work involves shipping law, you might be benefited more by actually going through an LLM in shipping law, specializing in shipping law, rather than going through the process of an LLB, which might not provide you with that opportunity. If it's the former, if you are basically a student that wants to enter into the fraternity, then there are two fundamental things that you need to keep in mind when selecting a law degree. One is to make sure that there are good career prospects for that law degree. Now, by and large, pretty much every UK recognized university provides an LLB, which is also recognized by many law firms as well. But look towards the particular area of law that you want to go into, be it criminal or commercial, and then determine, this might be quite early on as well, even though you're just getting into law. Look into what areas that you're most interested in and what firms that you are interested in at least pursuing or looking out for, and see which qualification and which university they tend to hire most from. This is not like a steadfast method of selecting a university, but it helps. The second thing that you need to keep in mind if you are a student getting into law to get into the profession is to make sure that your degree, that your qualification provides sufficient practical exposure. What I mean by this is not every degree is created equal, and there are some degrees that are more theory based rather than being practical in nature. So always try to opt for a degree which provides you an opportunity of doing mooting, having court visits, for example, as well as being taught by practitioners of the law as opposed to just academics, basically barristers or solicitors who are part of the academic structure. So those are the two things that you need to remember if you are a student going into law. So we've looked at question 1, which is who are you? And the second question, why you're doing this. The third question that you need to ask yourself is, where are you? What I mean by this is, I have countless students who study for a UK LLB degree from all across the world, from Sri Lanka, where I am based, to Nigeria, to Ghana, to Canada, to all the way to Japan and Singapore even. From these students, you have a number of them that will visit the university maybe once or twice a year, and you have others who don't visit the university at all. They don't even go for the convocation. All of their qualification requirements are fulfilled from where they are situated, from where they are resident. Now, why this third question is most important is because there are 3 fundamental ways in which you can study for law. Firstly, you can study full-time on campus. Secondly, you can study part-time on campus. And thirdly, you can study via distance learning. Now, if you are someone who's resident in the UK, this question might not necessarily be applicable at all. You might have the opportunity of actually visiting the campus and being on campus while you study. But if you are someone who's watching this video and who's thinking of pursuing a career in law or studying law and who's not in the UK, then more often than not, you will have to opt for a distance learning route. Why this is important then to understand is, if you are a working professional, definitely the distance learning option is necessary for you if your work commitments prevent you from actually being on campus. But on top of that, questions 1 and 2 are fundamental in determining question 3. Right, so we've gone through the 3 major questions that you need to know. First thing is who you are. Secondly, why you're doing this, why you're doing law in the first place. And thirdly, where you're based. Now, I have been teaching a lot of students even before they get into a law degree, and I've been guiding and counseling them as well. So if you're interested in learning more, before you step into the ring, so to speak, before you get into doing law or before you select a particular university, if you're interested in discussing as well as finding out what it takes to actually finish a law degree and have a taste of this degree, of an LLB before you get into it, make sure you get in touch with me and we can have a consultation session on what works, what doesn't, what you need to know before you get in. Check out the description below for details on how to get in touch as well. Drop me an email, drop me a message, or you can book me separately on my booking platform as well, which I've linked to down below. Right, if you're interested in more videos like this as well, and reviews of different universities, which I'm hoping to do in the future, make sure you comment below of the university that you're interested in being reviewed and to find out what it takes to complete a Bachelor of Laws degree in that university, and I'll definitely get into it as well. But until the next time that we meet, as always, have fun, stay safe, and obey the law. Cheers.